Hey,
Yep.
all right. MTP Boston missing the point. Boston. It's that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen. Jayson Tatum was counting from in his mic'd up from years to a month, or he was like 11 months, this many days, this many hours, feeding into the sort of narrative that he's built as a superstar this season of, I guess everybody doubts me. It's not enough that I've gotten to many Eastern Conference finals. It's not enough that I've made the finals. It's not enough that I've lost to, the Golden State fucking Warriors in the finals. I guess to just be even considered any good, I have to win the whole damn thing. Fair or not fair? I think we'll discuss that here. But I want to start with something that Mike and I briefly touched on towards the end of the season. What was it? Was that March when we had this conversation, Mike? When we talked about the idiosyncrasies of the Boston Celtics and the things that they still do to lose games. And I know that you guys have touched on a few of this theme, and it's an ongoing argument between the two of you. But catch me up. Where are we in terms of Mike's doubting of them, because they definitely do have a lot of the same habits, and Ray's sort of promised land approach to the fact that on paper it can't be denied that they are the best team in the NBA. Where are you guys with it now? Have we switched opinions?
You can go first, Ray.
No, I haven't switched any opinions yet. I think that, once again, they came in and did what they had to do for game one.
Yeah, they beat a Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much.
But
you got to do that.
Again, had they lost, it'd have been so no.
Yeah, had they lost, it would have been really, really embarrassing.
Right. Yeah. So you gotta. It's like you take care of what you're supposed to take care of. But back to what you were saying towards the end of the year. Obviously, we all of us had pretty much had difference of opinion as far as how the regular season ended, and obviously the last two games were great because the bench guys got in there and played really well and played with effort, and we agreed on that. But you can kind of see they were just ready to get to the playoffs and make that happen. So yeah, I mean they looked really good on Sunday, except for that about 6-minute stretch in the fourth quarter. But the game was really never in doubt, honestly. But yeah, I love what I've seen so far, and I hope that they're able to still to continue to work on anything that they have to work on. But yeah, but just keep moving the ball, playing good defense, and not letting Spo and anybody else get in the heads.
Mike, talk to me about that 6-minute stretch in the fourth quarter in the game.
Yeah,
down.
Yeah, so it's all hypothetical, right? Because he wasn't there. But if that exact thing happened and Jimmy Butler was there, that is a game that the Celtics have lost in the past, and I would have no confidence in them winning this postseason. I can't fault them for things that did not actually happen, though. They closed it out. They got up. It was a 30-point lead at one point in time. But the thing that you and I talked about in that episode back in March, DK, that really fucking still stands out, even though they only missed 2 free throws, it was Jaylen Brown that missed those 2 free throws. He went 2 for 4 from the line. And those are the things, again, in a 20-point win, they might be glossed over. But that's one thing that you can actually control. Like you said, that you're just not spending enough time in the gym. You're not actually doing it, and it looks like he's not getting any better with that. I love that they set a record for 3-pointers made. Love that, but that does still
tied it or set it.
No, tied it.
Sorry, yeah.
Because game 7 against Milwaukee a couple years ago.
I mean, that actually was shocking me when I heard that, because I was like, well, I mean, we didn't break the record for threes made. We made a ludicrous amount of fucking threes in that game on Sunday.
I think Cleveland has the record. They had 25 against Atlanta when they swept them, I think, in 2015.
It's absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah, it was the same. Kevin Love went berserk, but yeah. So,
I mean, but as good as that was, that still scares me in the sense that they took almost 53 pointers, right? Great, 22 of them went in. But one of the things,
there's also a record for range, that average range that we took them at, which I'm unsurprised by, because we were taking circus threes, frankly, at times. And I would Kristaps Porzingis hit a couple from Steph Curry range, and I was like, okay, I guess for me, I definitely hold both opinions in my head, Mike, because yeah, I think you're correct, because I was discernibly angry during that stretch. That 6 minutes, I was 100% here we fucking go. These soft motherfuckers, every single goddamn time they come up against any kind of adversity, I was just absolutely mouthing off. I was starting to worry, right? which I think is understandable. But at the same time, you look at that range record and it's like, and it does scare you. I know, live by the 3, die by the 3. I totally understand where you're coming from, but I mean, damn, dude, were we just actually just styling on them? And like, because we're so close to it that we worry when like any sort of run happens. We're just like, we've been burned before. Like recently we've been like burned by very specific things. And like, maybe it's a trauma response. Cause like, I wonder what would happen if I went back and watched that game again. And I think when you watch a game a second time, I do it all the time with the Liverpool games because it's just like interesting for me to like look at it without being like emotionally involved, like knowing the outcome. And I wonder if we watch that game again, Ray, would I just see the Celtics like absolutely barely trying and just fucking destroying the Heat? And like, that's because they can do that? Or am I going to see some real frailties in that 6 minutes from a really neutral perspective? I'm trying to understand.
I think, obviously you never want to be loose with the ball. And I think a lot of turnovers were happening in that 6 minute span. So I think that's where they could clean things up if I'm being objective and not being biased there. But I mean, listen, it was 91-59 at the end of 3. Like that game was over. Like it was just a matter of how much were they going to score.
At around 9 minutes, minutes in the third quarter, I was saying, I wonder what I was starters down. I wonder
it was crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they were like they were looking to get Tatum triple double. They were seeing if anybody else could get any other numbers.
He was near a triple double in the first half, though. Like we could have.
Third
quarter, he was like 4 assists and like 3 rebounds away by the first half ended. So,
personally, I thought that was the most under control he's been in a long time.
Punctuated by the end when he like really. I mean, I agree. The point I was going to make is like punctuated by. I really liked his response to that play. When they, like it was very not Jayson Tatum-y, to be honest with you. Like I really think in years gone by, he might be looking at the refs like, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, because I think it was a dirty play personally. What was your opinion on that?
Yeah.
So because I think that's one of the unwritten rules, right?
For sure. I mean, I know Mike loved Jaylen Brown's response though.
I liked it too. I liked it too. It was a moment. It was a moment I didn't like. I missed Marcus Smart in that moment though. I really think Marcus would have been like fucking right up in that dude's face.
Smart probably would have punched him. It would have been.
Yeah, but no, I didn't miss Smart in that moment because he would have made it all about him. And in this instance, like you saw Tatum, he just got up and walked to go shoot his free throws. KD
and let his teammates handle it.
Like got in his face, got in their face a little bit, like defended their guy, but then it was over. Like it did not turn into anything else.
I honestly, when the first like millisecond when JT popped up, I thought he was going to go at him, and I was kind of about it, to be honest with you, because he got up really fast, and I was like, Jayson Tatum just like really like just loses his temper. I've never seen it. I've never fucking seen it. He's usually cool as a cucumber, to a fault sometimes. But I really liked his reaction. He got up. It made me feel better because I was like, that was a short playoffs. Like for a second there, like that was fucking terrifying. It had a little waft of an even more genuine Pierce coming back out in the wheelchair scene from a certain playoff run that we all remember. But to your point, sorry about the under control performance punctuated by that. I agree with you. I really do think he was making a lot of the right decisions with the exception of that one stretch, right?
Right.
Go ahead, Mike.
I
was going to say, like, that 6 minute run, though, right? If we can just go back to that real quick.
Unsurprised you want to focus on it.
Well, it's only because you asked the question, like, if we went back and watched would we not be trying? I think you can, like, it's not an aberration. We've seen this team get up at 34, 35 points before, and in every single one, not every single one, most of those games, they have one of those runs where it doesn't matter who they're playing, doesn't matter if the starters are in. They just stop trying. And the big thing about this team is that are they able to turn it back on? And in this game, they were. So like it didn't kick them in the nuts. I just get worried if that is a pattern that they continue to repeat in this postseason.
Ray, would you agree that like the cushion does still need to be pretty big? Because like for better or for worse, they lost the fourth quarter 35-20-23. Like, in the solo game that was the fourth quarter, like they lost it by double digits. So they had a lot of padding that helps them like not panic, I think, is my theory. Like if they're up by a shitload, like 30 plus.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
an 18-point lead in that situation, I'm like fucking nervous though.
I mean, obviously, we're speaking all things Celtics, but we just saw last night as we record this on a Tuesday night, the Lakers had a 20-point lead
Did you see
in the second
fucking
half.
reaction
In the
after
second
the
half,
game, too?
AD and Braun were going crazy. D'Angelo Russell stepped up, hit 7 threes, and they lost on a game winner. And I said, wow. And, you know, and once again, had that been us on Sunday, Mike would have been totally right to say it felt familiar.
Yeah,
And
it's still
it's like,
true.
you know,
I mean,
and like
you
that, you
still
know,
do it,
would
right?
have been true. But I was so glad, obviously, that we weren't on that. But it's just like, yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, but yeah, they definitely do have to have the big lead. I think. Once again, DeLon Wright, you know, he's been a serviceman, and at least he's been there. He's not going 5 of 5 again in a quarter. That's also what happened. Like it's always like these crazy performances. It's the D Wade, it's the Dean Wades, it's the, you know, there's always someone that you don't
That one
expect to
Tyler
go.
Hero. That one
Yeah,
Tyler Hero.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know,
Destruction.
go ballistic. I mean, speaking of Tyler Hero, Drew Holiday had him in jail all day Sunday, like jail. Like you didn't notice. The only thing you notice about Tyler Hero
He's
was
not
those
the
whack
same.
ass
He's
sunglasses
not
that
the
he had
same
on in
guy.
the press conference.
He's
It was
not the
ridiculous.
same guy anymore. He's
Yeah,
just,
not at all. So I was totally, I loved what Drew Holiday did with him on Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, certain guys got hot Sunday that I'm just like, can you sustain that? Because once again, the Celtics have shown they are the best shooting team in the league when they're on. So we have 5 guys that can get 20. Miami, even with Jimmy, doesn't have 5 guys that can get 20. So
I'll say this in response to that,
we'll
though.
see.
Like, I agree with you about you know, the random role players of the Miami Heat going off. We've all like been honestly on the receiving end of that since like LeBron was there, to be honest.
Right.
Like I watched, like, was it like Mo Williams? Am I conflating years? Like Mo Williams went fucking berserk on us one time. It's like, you know, there's just like, it's just the worst guy you can think of just starts hitting shots against the Celtics. But I will say
Right.
this, like, you know, Sam Hauser went through a little streak when we were starting to build the lead where he just hit like a kind of absurd amount of threes in a row. And like, I like the fact that we have a little bit of a long and strong volume shooter that this is the thing though. If he's on the floor at the same time as Jimmy buckets, like Jimmy Butler victimizes the Sam Hausers of the world. Like if he sees Peyton Pritchard on the basketball court, he's like, oh my fucking God, I can't believe you left him out here. And he just will kill him.
Yeah.
Like he just will find a way to kill him. He will find a way to kill a Sam Hauser. He, you know, and like you just need your guys to like I think it's nice that we got, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it's nice that we got an opportunity for our role players to not just get their self-esteem just immediately crushed as like the first move that the Miami Heat in aggression towards us. Right? Like we actually got to see, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen to Al Horford, but like if you look at Peyton Pritchard's box score, I'm still like, you know, questionable on him as a defensive liability in the playoffs, but he was all over the place. He had 8 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. That's just like exactly the scoreline I want to see from Peyton Pritchard in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like 8 to 12 points, a few rebounds, because that means like they took a fucking junk shot and he's standing by himself underneath the fucking basket. So that's just like positive for the game. And assists, you know, that's a playmaking, something he has to add to his game because like, you know, the impression that he was leaving on me a lot was just if he can get his shot hot, he's useful. If he can't, he's not. And like, I think for him to be moving the ball around is indicative of like the whole team. And we don't have Jimmy Butler here just like hurting our feelings like on the playground right away. And I think that's going to be really good for their confidence. What did you make, Mike, of the role players this past weekend? I'm nervous about the depth of our bench, so I want to hear some positive things, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was actually really impressed with the way
no
the
Cornet
bench,
also no Cornet.
Yeah, with the way the bench performed. Just thinking about all the times that throughout the course of this year that we talked about how concerned we were about their depth. I mean, Sam Hauser was the perfect person to talk about. He played 14 minutes. He took 6 shots. They were all threes, and he hit 4 of them.
Yep.
So
huge.
But that's more of the live by the 3, die by the 3. Because if none of those go in, then you know. If that happens, it's a much closer
the most
game.
Sam Hauser stat line ever. 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist.
Yep.
Like it's just very, and I'm like, cool, that's fine. Like come in, like Dion Waiters. Like it just be Dion Waiters. Like come in, just come in and hit 3 threes.
Nice. That's a nice name drop right there.
Just come in and hit 3 or 4 threes in a row and then go sit back down. That's like it's 100% what I want from you. Like just come in, heat check, see you later. And That's what I want. And honestly, like Sam Hauser's the kind of guy that would typically just show up on the Heat bench that you never heard of before, and he would kill you for fucking 14 points. And you're just like, wait, who?
Right, facts.
What the fuck? So I'm actually
Yeah.
glad that we have him, to be honest. I know there's questions, obviously, about his like defensive abilities, but
even this year, like
bench, Jesus,
we
need him to be
both
good.
of them. Yeah, no, both of them. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you did.
No, like both of them, like they've made enough of a leap defensively where they've become playable, right? So remember last year, Joe really didn't trust Pritchard.
That's still in my head. That's still in my head.
Which is why which is why they weren't out there, at times last year during the postseason. So obviously Pritchard has started to take a little bit of a leap under Ime, and then like I said, made that regression last year. But that last month and a half of the season for Payne Pritchard, like he really took off. Like you said, you mentioned the playmaking. He's been an excellent rebounder from day one. Like if there's anything he was going to be on the floor, he's going to get you offensive rebound when it's like, wow, like where did that come from? He rebounds really well first position. That I'm not worried about.
He follows in shots and he
right,
like,
exactly, yeah.
He takes up good positions and fills space on the rebound, which is like all you can ask for from your guards.
Exactly. So the shot selection has gotten better. So yeah, I think, like I said, those guys taking a leap in the game, and that's something that me and Mike had talked about last week when we did the preview. Like that is something. It's made that team a lot more formidable because, instead of you don't now have to go back down to a Brissett or to a Tillman unless you really need to or want to. And once again, those guys will play, but it really depends on the matchup. So
two guys I don't mind, by the way, like very like obviously situationally, like applied, like situations where if you have some random old head come out from the Bucks that you like forgot was on that team and they start like fucking up Jayson Tatum or like, chopping up Jaylen Brown. And there's like, you're not getting calls because the refs are letting him play. I don't know if you saw the end of that fucking 76ers Knicks game. It was like
crazy.
Crazy match. It's like a full-blown wrestling match broke out and the refs were like, I don't know, man. It's like, I would feel a little hard done by if I was Philadelphia, but like, if the second New York team got good, you knew they were going to start getting bullshit calls their way. Let's be honest. So I'm not worried about them. If I'm worried about anybody in the East, by the way, it's probably the Knicks because it seems like the Bucks are not like Giannis is done. Is that like him again?
Yeah, I think he comes back towards the end of the series. But I mean, listen, what I saw Sunday night from Damian Lillard, my God,
not that worried about it. Not that worried.
No, but I didn't know. I didn't know if he was still capable of those type of performances, and he was like, "Yeah, I am." So that scares me because he could get hot at any given time, and we saw that Sunday night.
I'm just worried. I still think we're way better.
They don't play as much defense though, so.
Yeah, any really.
Yeah,
I'm more worried about New York because I think that could become like a Hawks situation for us this in a 7-game series. Like I'm worried that like the Garden, the way the refs are calling the games, like the way that there's a narrative building around them, like I don't really want to go through.
They're also scrappy as fuck too.
They are scrappy. Well, they're allowed to be scrappier than the rules allow, but typically, yeah. I agree. They are scrappy. I don't think Brunson's big enough, and I think our guards would swallow them. And I think in a basketball sense, we would be fine. But
I'll stay right there for a second with them, right? So to me, like, listen, Brunson has been amazing. Obviously, they're down Randall.
But I mean, defensively, our guards, like that's the place I'm the most secure.
No, sure, but I think with them, right? And I make it's not my original thought, but it's something that I saw on Twitter. So I agree. So I wanted to bring it to the show.
You should have just stolen it.
Well, I don't even know who put it out there. I just know I saw.
You're already kind of stealing it. So fuck him.
Whatever. So that Knicks team is the 2016-2017 Celtics. Brunson is IT, right? Randall, when healthy, was like Al Horford, right, in a sense, and they overachieved because they played harder than you every night. So that's really what it is. Like, I don't know, like they're very good because they coach well, they play hard, but I don't know if they have another gear. Like, so that's where I feel like they grind out games. Like they grinded out yesterday, like that. I mean, the other night. That's why they end up winning that game. So I'm not sure if they have another gear, but like I said, they play extremely hard. And that's always going to keep them in a series. But like I said, I just don't know offensively. Could they keep up with a Boston or a Milwaukee? But I do think if they play Milwaukee that next round, they're going to be Milwaukee.
Doc's the coach, of course. He's not going past the second round.
No, I'm saying, but they play harder, and it's like that. That to me, that's enough. So
yeah, I mean, I just don't want to see them to be honest with you, because I kind of went from not watching a lot of Knicks games in the regular season to essentially thinking that it would be bad if we lost a game on our run to the finals. Like I was really thinking to myself, like with the condition everyone's in, and like we're looking at it before game one, the likelihood we were going to play the 76ers, I was like, we spanked them every time and they like look extra bad.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not worried about that. Like Embiid's like doesn't look quite right. That's just you can just see it.
Yeah.
And I really thought like we should maybe just win every single game. Maybe a couple gentlemen sweeps. Maybe we go 3-1 against the Heat, maybe because it's Miami. I don't know. Like we'll see. I would like a 4-0, like across the board. But now I'm like, I feel like I can feel it in my gut. We're going to see the Knicks. And I can feel in my gut that it's going to go to 7 games. And I don't know why, but it's like, I saw them and it was like a Jedi recognizing a fucking Sith and being like, we're not going to fight right now. But I felt the same disturbance in the Force. And like, we'll see you down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I can just sort of feel it. So, I am a little worried about them. I'll be watching them a lot more closely. I was not familiar with their game, but now I will study my enemy. Okay, well, I want to talk about the rest of the players' performances on Sunday before we look ahead to Game 2 in Boston on Wednesday. Can anyone explain to me? I didn't look deeply into this. Why are we going Sunday, Wednesday? What's the?
I think it's because of just it's part of his TV because that's what my supervisors in Mexico.
I guess it benefits us.
But because Boston being the number 1 seed, they choose what the first round was going to look like, far as when they would play. So
got it.
We knew a week before that it was going to be Sunday. It was just a matter of what time, and then it was going to be either Sunday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Wednesday. But because Boston being the number 1 seed, they were able to say, okay, we'll stretch out the series. So it'll be 2 days to rest between the first 3 games, which is huge.
I like us better rested. I don't think we're the kind of team that does better.
I mean, that's especially having KP and Al, obviously. So I think that's
totally
that's huge for them. And
especially in between a home game, right? Like just to that's true R&R. You do a little scrimmage in the afternoon a couple times, and you do some tape meetings, but like you're really like soft toeing it into the playoffs, which is sort of like what this team needs. All right, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it from for the starting 5. We discussed the bench. I'm going to take it from least amount of points to most. That's not to say that they contributed the least amount, but Jrue Holiday, you already mentioned, pocketed Tyler Hero. I think he plays a really great sacrifice game when he's on the floor at the same time as Derek White. I think he really plays off Derek White super well, especially defensively. If you just watch Jrue Holiday, and I'm sure you guys have done this, like I'm sure all Celtics fans have done this at periods, he's a super interesting player to watch. Like the way he moves, the way he reads the game, how switched on he is defensively. He's like Marcus to me defensively. He's Marcus at his best because what he doesn't have in like the same level of hustle, he makes up for in like size, athleticism, and like strength. And it's like just as effective. I'm not saying he doesn't hustle, but like obviously that was Marcus's like standout quality. And the way he moves offensively, I just really like how he opens up space for other players. It's another sacrifice fly sort of situation, like he moves in and out of the paint at a pace and with a purpose that you can tell the guy guarding him is just miserable. Like he's just like, this fucking sucks. He can't really hold on to him because he's like super strong and athletic. He can shoot from pretty much anywhere. And he uses more of the dummy and the threat to open up these guys around him. And it's like, it's such a fun time just ISO camming your vision onto Jrue Holiday. Mike, say some nice things as well about Jrue Holiday, please. Or, I would love to hear your thoughts now that you've seen him in a playoff game comparably to our last kind of guard rotation that we saw in a playoff situation.
That's exactly where I was going to go, is that the biggest thing about his performance, not only that he was a lockdown defensively all night, but he took 8 shots. That's it. And we've seen here in Boston with previous point guards where if they were 2 for 6, they were going to try and shoot the way out of that slump. And what Holiday did was he made sure everyone else got the ball, right? Like he created space in the floor. He was locked down defensively. And he didn't make it about him, which I think was the most defining thing that I took away from that game, because he had such a big impact. But if you just looked at the stat sheet, you would think that he had a terrible game. When in reality, he was one of the leaders out there. Like he facilitated most of the plays and made Derek White look so much better in that game. But I also love Derek White too.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
come on to him and we'll say nice things about him. Ray, is there a Drew Holiday like bananas game coming in the playoffs? Is there a fucking
I,
or
I
do we
really,
even
I
need
really
one?
hope so.
I feel like there's gonna
No,
be one
so
where he goes berserk.
yeah, to answer your question, no, they don't need one. But as someone who likes to see him be aggressive on the floor, like I'm waiting for that moment to happen. And once again, I think we'll need it as the rounds increase. But yeah, I think it's coming. Once again, it's not just for game one, but he's sacrificed all year. I'm sure they had conversations about what he can do offensively. Once again, he just averaged 19 and 8 last year in Milwaukee, right? So it's not like he just fell off the face of the earth, but he led the league in corner threes. And yeah, I just think that he said, okay, I'm playing with Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis. Like I don't need to be that guy. And he's had some games this year where he's hit timely threes, and I mean, even on Sunday, right? Like he hit a couple of threes early on when they went on like that 14-2 run. Like it was like, oh, okay, like
Can I ask
he
you a
got his
question
shots
on
early,
that note?
and he backed
Actually,
off. Yep.
do we think that like the way that the Celtics play has sort of, I understand the sacrifice part of it, and I do think he's doing that. But we ask him to shoot from a range that I don't think he's as effective at. Like I really do think his mid-range game is like if he gets it going, like borderline as good as Jaylen Brown's.
Yeah.
And neither of them shoot from the mid-range like at all, really. And like I
Yeah.
know that I'm like a little slut for mid-range shots, and I know that I like shut up about the mid-range in forever. And if anyone's wondering why that is, it's because of the era that I started watching basketball was like the people who were wet were mid-range, like, pull-up jump shooters that would like dribble really well and pull up and hit just like 6 shots, or like the KG turnaround jump shot, or the Kobe turnaround jump shot. Like it's sort of a dying breed in this league, and I still like the players that do it. And we have 2 of the best guys in the league at it. And I just really sometimes wish, maybe I fetishize it a little bit, but I really just sometimes wish both of them would their mid-range game a little more. Am I crazy? Is it just like fuck it, do the advanced analytics, like shoot the threes when you should?
Well, I think that's what Joe was preaching. I think that and once again, they're not wrong because he's led the league in corner threes. So I mean that to me is fine. But the shot that you're talking about, that usually is usually on the left side of the floor.
Left side elbow, yeah.
That little turnaround, for about 15 feet, it's just fucking automatic.
It's sick. And also, I want to see if we're doing advanced analytics. Like, can I see a specific player's overall efficiency from different like impact on the game level efficiency of their different ranges? Because yeah, I agree. I mean, he hits big threes, he can still take those, but he could have a higher volume overall if he just added that shot back in at a 1.5 rate. Like it doesn't even have to be twice as much or 3 times as much. Like to me, it's just like there's times in a game that call for that kind of play. Like it's the thing that frustrates us all, I think, is that it's like they take shots where when you're in the game and you're on the beating heart of the game and you can feel it, you automatically click in your head like, we need our highest percentage 2-point shot right now that we can get. Yeah. And they never make that decision. And I think that's what kind of has Mike on the edge of his seat a lot of the time. It has me on the edge of my seat too. And it's a little frustrating when you have the Drew Holidays of the world that I watched him cook us with that shot when he was on the Bucks. And I literally couldn't even get mad because it was so sexy. So I was like, all right, like Drew Holiday's going to fucking get you like that, I guess. It was part of why I was so excited to get him. And now we're not even having him do his like special move. It's like when you have Goku, bro, just make his hair turn yellow, and have him fucking go Super Saiyan on you. Like use the best qualities of your players. Or maybe I'm wrong, but I know I sound like an old fart, but what do you guys think?
No, I mean, yeah, it definitely needs to be more of a balance. And I've been saying that to people that I talk to, especially at CDD guard. I'm like, yo, like if you're able to score from all 3 levels, it makes you that much harder to guard. That's simple. And we've seen
all of our guys can do that on paper.
No, right? No, correct. That's what I'm saying. But Joe, it's like keep doing that. Like do what got you to the dance. Like don't deviate from that. And once again, it's sometimes the defense dictates what you're going to shoot. Obviously, so which is why I think we saw 53s on Sunday. 1 is because Joe wants that to happen, but 2, if they're playing zone, they're guess what? For those that don't, they're playing zone because they know they can't stay in front of Tatum around. So you have to play zone or you're gonna get cooked. Like it's that simple. So you have to hope that they miss so that you're in the game. And that's what happened in the fourth quarter a little bit. They started missing shots. That's why they got back. But if they're making shots, it's over, baby. Like it's a wrap. It's
I
a
know.
wrap.
I know. I
Wow.
mean, I know it is old farty. I get it. It's just that like it's like, but like Kristaps has like a Dirk Nowitzki level elbow shot, and like it goes in every time because it looks
That
like
step
he's
back was
shooting.
crazy though.
It's looking like, yeah, I agree. I know after the fucking circus performance he put from outside of range, I'm talking about his mid range game, but still I'm the guy doing that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm saying that he has like it must be like shooting beer pong for him when he's closer to the rim, like he can see into the fucking rim. So it's like, dude, it just looks effortless when he's in there. I don't know, Mike, am I crazy?
No, I think you're 100% fucking right. I think one of the things that makes this team the most frustrating is that they could be dominant on all levels of offense, whether it's 3 mid-range or right in
They
right in
could
the
be
paint.
because we've watched them do it a ton of
We've
times.
seen them do it, and it's like in those runs. Again, sorry to harp on this. They choose to forget the other 2 layers of their game, and they just jack up threes. Like that's all that they do. Like one of the things that I wanted to see more from KP was his offensive rebounding. Right, like that's one of the
We're
things
terrible at that. We're terrible at rebounding in general still.
Right. Well, we had a pretty good game. I think we out rebounded them by 20.
We did. I just think I know there's going to be a game we fucking get mad at them again for not like rebounding.
Right. It's just like in those situations where you see that what you're currently doing is not working and what you want to do is just jack up threes and not working. Are you able to put KP in the paint and just have him box everybody out and grab those rebounds to get more second chance opportunities? Because if you do that, like that, we haven't been able to do that the last couple of years. I love Al. I think this is the perfect role for Al right now, playing 25, 26 minutes off the bench. But if you have a 7'2" monster that can just literally without jumping, just crash the boards, like that's how you're going to make sure that what happened in the last 3 postseasons doesn't happen again.
But even to add to that, right, that's totally valid. I just feel like, and this is just me because once again, it's old school in me too. Just about every game until they stop it, I would feed Porzingis the first 5 times.
I know.
Just give throw it in
there.
there.
You remember Shaq? Like every start of every game, it was just like, oh, this is how this
I'm just gonna throw it down there. And because once again, Jaime Jaquez, who in any other year would be rookie of the year, but this is a 7'4" giant in San Antonio named Victor Wembanyama was a fucking monster.
That guy's gonna be the fucking MVP in 2 seasons,
oh yeah, crazy.
He's a fucking freak.
Hawkins Jr. is nice.
He is. He had a good game,
and they had him on KP, and I'm like, oh my god, like you couldn't even see him at times.
Comical. But they didn't take advantage of it like any of those times. They like did not like they actually.
No, they did at times. They did.
There was a couple. There was a couple of times burned in my memory where I was like squealing mismatch at the fucking television.
Yeah.
And nobody was like listening to me. I thought I was trying to make them hear me in Boston. Yeah. I was like fucking mismatch, and like they just didn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're right. I mean, like I said, there was a few times in the first half where they went to it. They're gonna have Bam on him unless especially if they're running.
He's tough to play against. I'm not.
Oh, for sure. No, Bam was great. Bam was great on Sunday, but
he's always killing Jayson Tatum too.
Yeah, I mean they're best of friends, and so that's why he's on his head. But I love that he actually. Friends. Yeah. I mean, once again, he's done pretty well against them most of his career, but once again, it'll be a different outcome this time around. But yeah, no, I just think that take care of the of the big man down low. Give it to him. Give it to him down there. The first 5-6 possessions, and whether he's going to get fouled, whether he's going to turn around and get the first 8 points, because we started in the regular season when either him or Jaylen Brown get out to a hard start, they usually blow teams out the building.
Oh yeah,
it's not an opinion. That's a fact. So just just me. If it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it. So
I agree.
Go from there. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Derek White. On that note, so we can pivot right over to from the Drew Holiday conversation.
My guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think his floor is just it's probably the highest it's ever been. Like an average Derek White performance is now at such a consistent level that I'm ready to say without fear of like retribution from the basketball gods that like he basically is the second or third most important player on the floor for us almost every game. I think that can fluctuate. I think that him, JB, and Kristaps like take 2, 3, and 4 every game, and they sort of rotate between the three of them, which is a nice problem to have, to be honest. I mean, it's just a cool fact of life. But when Derek White takes over a game, it's to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you guys feel differently. When he has stretches that we're doing really well, that's when I feel at my most stable with our performance. Like at my most assured that we're playing well collectively as a team, and like everybody's like reading off the same script. It's like D White's cooking, and he's doing all the things that he does now. I mean, he's super efficient from three. I don't know how good of a game he had from three actually on Sunday. I remember a couple misses, but
4 of 8.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean,
that's really
fucking
good.
like that's absolutely outrageous. If you can keep a 50% fucking three-point clip going for that, like unbelievable. I think he plays his natural advantages now in a way, like with extreme confidence, so that we're an incredibly difficult team to match up against because from 1 through 5 because of the guys that we have. I would ask the question, since just to tie it back to the last two conversations, and whoever wants to jump in on this can, who guards Brunson if we play the Knicks? Because my first instinct is to say that it's Drew, but I don't know. I mean, like we could try both, but I think like D White is like blocking Brunson a couple of times, like on the trailing move, right? Like maybe letting him go a little bit because you kind of have to, and then be right behind him and just fucking yam that block because he has this huge size mismatch. But I also think that Drew Holiday could potentially pocket Jalen Brunson, and it would be a really cool one-on-one matchup to watch, like from both ends, if you wanted to just say like, I got that guy. So
Yeah,
I'm curious what you guys would like to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think just based off of the way that Derek White plays, like he plays so much bigger than he actually is. He has blocks not only against guards, but against power forwards and fives sometimes during the game, right? And that's just not something that you see out of a guard. So I would say like you should let him go first. And I think you can make Brunson's life a living hell, not looking ahead. I'm not overlooking the Heat, but I think that this should be a pretty easy Miami Heat series. But how much hell could you create for Brunson if you have White guarding him half the time and then Drew Holiday guarding him the other half? Like, there's going to be no reprieve because what Derek White doesn't do well, Drew Holiday does, and vice versa. But I would ride White until he fails you because realistically, realistically, in the last 2 years, he hasn't failed you.
I agree. I would fucking ride him like I stole him. No, I don't actually. I have a different take, but I'm gonna let Ray go first before I respond. Go ahead, Ray. I mean, it's especially since he shaved his head.
Listen.
Especially since he shaved his head, he's looking real dapper these days.
Appreciate it. No, I missed this. That's we talked about it in Discord. I missed you, brother. This only happens when you're on here. So I would actually have Jaylen Brown guard him.
Whoa. Okay.
I'd have Jaylen Brown is taking that challenge all year, especially second half of the year. I would put Jaylen Brown on Brunson, if that's the case, and just say good luck.
Goodbye, Derek Brunson. I think it'd be
good luck. I'm like, once again, Brown.
Showing him a lot of respect. I mean, he's a good player, but I mean, that would solve the problem.
Yep. So I put JB on him immediately. Obviously, you don't put him on him the whole game, but I would do Brown, White, then Holiday. I put Holiday like on hard or like I said, what's crazy, Holiday can guard Hartenstein down low. Like it won't be a problem. Like that's insane to say, but it's true. So I would start with JB and then let him set the tone and then go from there.
Wow,
just to keep the other guys fresh. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's interesting to think about because but the way Brunson plays, like if we had JB at the 2 more consistently and just moving like that way offensively as well, just going 2-way with him to start the game, I think you might have me convinced. Because what I was gonna say was, I think we need to our offense benefits so much from Derek White playing well offensively. Like I think that like I said before, like I really feel like we're clicking when he's playing well offensively. And I don't want him like caught up in a battle with the best player on the other team like immediately. You know what I mean? I want him to get in a little bit, but I also think he could be great help against Brunson when he does inevitably beat guys one-on-one. I think because like his slashing obviously is not anything to be sniffed at, and his shooting. And I think that you're right about Derek White being as long as he is. I was thinking Drew Holiday to start to just put him in a battle with Brunson and see what he's made of. But I think you're right about setting the tone with JB because he's not going to cook JB. Like they might have a good battle back and forth, but he's not going to kill him. He's just definitely not. like 100% not. So I agree with you, and I also think that gets the very front running styles of Jaylen Brown kind of activated immediately because he is a tone setter. That is actually his role on the team, is to set the tone both offensively and defensively. And we've seen that from him consistently over the past few years, early in games and early in series. So I fucking agree. I actually hadn't thought about that. That's a good call.
Yeah. Well, no, that's why we're here. But I want to add, it's funny. I'm gonna pull a mic and go back to the run. Okay, this ties back to Derek White. Those 6 minutes that happened, guess who was on the bench?
Derek White.
Derek White. So he immediately comes back in. He hits 2 threes. Game over.
Safety blanket.
He's exactly. He's becoming our Derek Fisher, and if that's the case, there's going to be a lot of winning here going forward. So that's where he's becoming a guy that he hits the big shots when we need him. And once again, clutch is not always, like you're down 3 or 4 and then the guy hits the shot. It's when the team is making a run, like Miami was making a run, and immediately you hit 2 threes, but the lead just back up to 20, 21. Now it's like, okay, well, damn, we had some momentum, but now that's gone. So
and that quality, that specific thing you're talking about, we've been missing that for years.
Right, exactly. So to have that with him, once again, Holiday has done that at some points throughout the year as well. So I think, Derek White for sure has been the most consistent player on the team. And once again, I'd argue anyone down that says otherwise, because you're like, once again, yes, we know Tatum's the best player. We got Brown, we know that, but the most consistent player, the most important player for this team's success is definitely with Derek White. And like I said, I'd love to see. I love the nickname that his father gave him and Holiday, the Stock Exchange. I think that's a phenomenal nickname for that backcourt.
Amazing.
So I think that's great. So so I think that's great. But yeah, no, Derek White has been an integral part of what they're done really since he's been here. Once again, I watched him a lot, so that's why I knew I was like, at some point he's going to be a guy that this city's going to love. And it took a while for some of us to warm up, and that's fine. But I knew nope. I said when he gets acclimated, they're going to love him. And now, like I said, he's been phenomenal here. So I'm looking forward to more of Derek White, killing the teams going forward.
Looking forward to more 10 assist Jayson Tatum games.
Yes.
For
sure. Absolutely.
I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's what Mike's been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys touched on this. I don't want to belabor this point because I know that this got a lot of airtime over the last few episodes. But I do want to just say for myself, like, it looks like like an era change when he's playmaking at that level. Like, it looks like he looks like a guy that can basically not be stopped. Because and quite frankly, I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic here, but I've only ever seen a handful of guys that can do this. I really have. Like, there's guys that can change games in different ways. There's guys that can like turn on their scoring at a given time and it can change a game. There's guys that can turn on their playmaking, defense. I mean, I don't know of that many guys. I think the list is pretty short that can do all of those things at any given time. And or pick one depending on what the game's giving him and use that to win the game. I do agree that he's more effective at it earlier in the game, which is obviously frustrating for a lot of us because we associate like the clutch levels of basketball greatness with the fourth quarter. And I do want his fourth quarter performances to improve, but and I think that they will, because I think it's the last thing that needs to happen and I think we've been pretty steadily checking off boxes as we sort of rise up to the top of this, because this kind of thing that like a 10 assist game from him is a game that's going to give him the level of confidence and I saw the look on his face. It was a level of confidence. Like, I know something that apparently you guys don't. Right. And I promise you only ever seen it a few times. Like, there was a look on his face at one point when we were going on that big third quarter run that I saw. Sorry to bring this up. I saw it happen to Peyton Manning when he was down against the Pats in that AFC Championship game in 2006. I saw Kobe Bryant do it against us in Game 6 of the 2010 Finals. Because Game 7, I mean, like, that wasn't anyone but us not having anyone that could rebound the fucking basketball. But
pretty much.
But I saw. If we just had one guy that could get like 4 rebounds, we would have won that game. But And Rajon Rondo didn't take like a garbage shot, fucking 3-point shot at the very end. Whatever. I'm sorry. It still hurts. I've seen, and my point is, I've seen a handful of guys with this level of confidence. LeBron James had it for about 7 years, where it was like, oh shit, like he can just. Actually, it's probably longer. It was probably a good 15 years of LeBron just being able to just win a game at will at any level, right? I mean, say what you will. LeBron could do it all. He was the best passer in the NBA for many years. He was the best defensive player in the NBA for many years. He was the best scorer in the NBA for a few years. I mean, Kobe was a great scorer and he was a pretty good one-on-one defender, but it's not quite the same as that like multi-level, how to have a high basketball IQ type of performance. And I've started to see it in Tatum. I'm not convinced he's going to be able to pull it out when the stakes are high though. Yeah. But that's just because I haven't seen that. But I mean, I know it's in there. Like there's a monster inside him. Like the talent is outrageous already. It's just this thing where he's adding to his game at like at different levels. And it's like, oh, it's getting scary.
I mean, Ray's gonna bring up Game 6 in Philly last year. About like we've seen it once from Tatum, right?
No, totally. I mean, I'm not saying we haven't seen it. I'm just saying I want to see it at a consistent level because I've also seen him disappear.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, well, actually, I was actually pretty pissed Game 6 Philly last year because
I know
he had to show it up, and then all of a sudden he went bananas and saved his ass and the rest of ours at the time. But no, I mean, I always point to like my favorite game of him is that Game 6 in Milwaukee a few years ago when that was my first year working at the Garden, and people were like, oh my god, everyone was like, yo, see you Sunday, see you Sunday, see you Sunday, see you Sunday. And he went ballistic in Milwaukee. And I was like, oh, like it's there. Once again, it's just a matter of are we going to see it on a regular basis? But that's why I said at the beginning, this is the most under control he's been. And once again, it wasn't the best scoring output he's had, but he controlled the game on every facet. That's what Mike is clamoring about. You clamoring about, DK, Bobby at times. So, that's where. If he's doing that, where granted we don't need a triple double every game, that'd be beautiful. If I can get 28, 9, and 7, I'd be fine with that going forward, because I know that means that he's super engaged, and I would love for him to master that skip pass like Vince Carter used to do back in the day, because he's 6'9", you're not going to steal it from him at that height. If you just skip it over, over the head of defenders, he'd probably get at least 8 assists a game just doing that. So
in order to master that though, I think the issue is the way that we play. And I agree with you. I love the skip pass. I love it as a concept in general. And the Celtics did it a couple times. And this is to my point.
Well, maybe we have Rondo.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, well, KG could do it too. KG used to skip it from the high elbow. Like, when they thought maybe he was going to take a turnaround jump shot and then he would face up and then he would just skip it over. And the thing that we were able to do so effectively with the skip pass was find Ray Allen in the corner arriving. And like, I think that is a very underrated skill, the off the ball run. And like, we saw basically, in my opinion, the best guy to ever do it, which was Ray. Like, as much as he was absolutely outrageous as the shooter, of course, his movement off the ball is like why that highlight of him on Miami exists. Like the way he moves off the ball is, and like the way, even though he
didn't even look down.
No, he didn't even look down. And like, and it's heartbreaking that it's him. Obviously, it broke my heart at the time, but it's the way he would move baseline to baseline, even when we got him, and he was distinctly out of his prime when we got him, like athletically. But the way he even moved baseline to baseline, and like our system, we don't actually do that. We find spots, and then when the ball rotates, we rotate with the ball, which isn't. I just don't think it's as deliberate, and it's like at that point, if you're trying to do a skip pass, I think you're going to have you're going to have some growing pains because you need guys to get to that spot at the right time.
Right.
And I do agree that Tatum could totally master it, but like I would need Jaylen Brown probably to like master, or Derek White, I think could probably do it, where it's like, you got to be able to be elusive enough off the ball where you've completely lost your man. And then there's got to be 2 guys before him setting very purposeful screens in order to help whoever the off the ball runner is to get there. And like, that's the kind of thing we used to do in 08. It was fucking beautiful to watch. Watch. But, and a great coach. That's why, I mean, it's like, no, genuinely, it was like, that's how we we used to accomplish that. And we don't really play like that,
Yeah. For my girls, there was a game winner that Ray Allen hit that year they won the championship. I think it was against not Charlotte. Everyone remembers that. Toronto, where they had a side out
Second round.
Like Ray Allen literally ran from the other side of the court so where Pierce was gonna be. Pierce literally just dumps it off to him, shoots a game, and I'm like, game winner. I'm just like, can we please incorporate that to the offense?
Yeah.
Please. Please. Like, literally the defender was lost. The man, I don't know how you left Ray at that time, even then, and old as he was, you left Ray Allen that wide open. I don't know how that happened, but I was like, that's when Doc could actually call plays. Now I don't know what happened, but he could actually do plays. Then I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was beautiful. So I would love for that.
Calling plays, like,
back.
I mean, seriously,
talking
about calling plays, like we have 4 or 5 plays off the Paul Pierce ISO that like would win us games at will. Like we would get into close situations, and the team would just instinctively know to go into the Paul Pierce ISO, and they would run one of like 2 to 3 plays. Rondo would always be redundant in those situations, but like Ray would get open. Famously, Ray Allen said every game winner I ever hit, every buzzer beater I ever hit on the Celtics was a pass from Paul Pierce. And that's true. Like, that's like actually fucking true. Like he really did find him like all the time in those situations because we were going off the ISO, right? So it's like, why don't we ever run the fucking ISO with Jayson Tatum? He would be the most elite isolation player of all time. It's like he could shoot at will because he wouldn't make good decisions. I get it. But like, maybe now he would. Maybe now he would.
Well, I think that's where. So I think that's.
Tell me you don't want to see that.
That's the next. No, that's the next part for sure. Because once again, there isn't anyone that can stop him 1-on-1. It's not. And I think
you clear out that. That's why you clear out.
That's why we see the jump shots that we shouldn't see at times. But it's like, man, if that continues to get unlocked where he is an ISO, and then he draws a double for somebody and finds someone in the corner, like they're already showing.
But we're already all about spacing, right? We're already all about fucking spacing. Like we're already in our fucking spots. If you can get one switch, if you can get one switch, you don't even need an ideal matchup switch. If you can just switch their best defender off him for 1 second, like high enough, like close enough to the half court line, where he immediately just calls the play and everyone just runs in the opposite direction. If they try to send a double to him, yes, you're right. He can find any fucking pass because there will be a guy open. Whoever has their defender leave them, and for the double team, it'll be such a wide space. Their instruction will just be go to the basket, and he'll find them. You know, like you said, he'll find them overhead because he's fucking enormous. If not, okay, let's pistols at dawn. Like, let's see if you can take Jayson Tatum all the way to the fucking rack, because I bet you can't. Like, whoever you are, right? If it's Kawhi Leonard, maybe. But do it to him 3 or 4 times, Tatum will get his. Tatum will 100% get his. Let him do that. Let him be that player in the right situations. Call it at the right times so that he doesn't make the decision himself with 12 seconds left on the fucking shot clock in a situation where we need a high percentage fucking 2 from around the rim.
We need Game 7 Tatum all the time. Yeah. That's what it is. We need Game 7 Tatum all the time. Because there's not a Game 7 he's played that he has not showed up. They have won every Game 7, but he has not shown every Game 7 they needed. He's always showed up.
Oh, that's right. We lost in 6.
No. I'm saying, but every Game 7 that there's been, like he
what about the Heat? What about the Heat?
Yeah, he last year didn't show up, but you're gonna say his ankle was hurt.
Wait, I mean, but getting injured that affects that matters.
Well, did he get?
It's like he was healthy. If he was healthy and then messed up, you got me. But I'm like,
I mean, he got hurt, not injured, but like that's just play.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he fucked his ankle up. Come on, I mean, let's.
And I'm like, and I get it. I mean, because granted,
Michael Jordan didn't have the flu. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but
he was up all night doing blow. Let's be honest.
Speaking of that, because I'm like, there's been a lot of, obviously there's always going to be trolling on social media because that's just what people love to do. But they're like, oh, people are beating their chest about beating it, Butler less, Miami. And I want to paint this picture because obviously the 3 of us here are Celtics fans. So when Hayward was out, Kyrie was out, Kemba had a shattered knee, there was not a single person on NBA Twitter that felt bad for Boston. So if you think that I'm gonna feel sorry about Jimmy Butler being hurt, once again, the injuries definitely suck. But if you think I'm gonna feel sorry about facing this team without Jimmy Butler, I got 2 words for you. Fuck you. Like that's like just no. He thought I was gonna say the other one, something DX, but they could do that too. But it's like I'm not gonna feel bad about playing a guy. I'm sorry. I know injuries suck, and I wish him a speedy recovery. But once again, no one felt bad when Hayward and Kyrie and like I said, Kemba got hurt and Jaylen Brown got hurt a few years ago before Brooklyn series. Like, I'm good. I'm sorry. You played what's in front of you. Oh well.
Yeah, I don't feel
Get the
bad
job
for
done.
Jimmy Butler. I'm delighted that they don't.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm fucking so happy that he's not out there. You know how much fucking that guy's put
Yeah,
me
what a
through?
joke. What a joke.
Yeah, I'm happy he's not there. I don't give a fuck. I'll take the easiest ride possible. Thank
Right,
you. Very
exactly. Yeah.
much. I have no interest in overcoming adversity if we don't have to. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Totally good with it. Also, if anyone's listening in the universe, I feel that way about life as well. So if you'd like to just have good things continue to happen to me, that would be great. I'm in no way interested in learning any lessons. Okay, let's look ahead. Let's look ahead to the future. Mike, your crystal ball is in front of you. Do you rub a crystal ball? How do you make a crystal ball where it's not like a genie lamp, right? You probably remove some sort of protective covering so that Sauron can't.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then you look into it in order to see the future. And you're looking ahead just 24 hours because, I mean, honestly, no one's ever called you a visionary. You just want to see the Celtics game. You could save humanity, but here you are with your crystal ball. You're looking ahead and you're looking at this game. And what are your emotions while you're watching this game? You're looking at you watching the game. Are you watching another blowout? Are you looking at random guys you've never heard of from the Heat come in and scored 35 points? What's going through your mind tomorrow about this time?
I think I'm looking at myself being pleasantly surprised that even though they didn't get out to a huge lead and it was a close game at halftime, that the Celtics didn't give up and then they poured it on in the fourth quarter. Because that's one of the things that we haven't seen from this team is like one of their big setbacks is that if they don't blow you out in the first half, then you really have a good chance to beat them. The Celtics this year were 10-9 in games that were 5 points or less with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
That's not good.
And that's not good in the season where you lost what 16 games, 14 games, whatever it was. So like we
better just blow everybody out for the remainder of the playoffs. I think that would be the move. Just boring fourth quarters for the foreseeable, I think, is what we're going to have to get to.
I think Spo's going to do everything he can tomorrow to not allow a 14-2 run to start the game, right? But if that happens, and if we're in a situation where it's like 53-51 at halftime, I'm looking now and seeing that I'm super excited that this team decided they were going to show up in the fourth quarter, that they always do in the first quarter, and they still pull out a 25-point victory.
Interesting. Ray, do you see the same thing in the future for the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely going to be closer, I think, in the first half than it was on Sunday. Once again, Spo's going to throw the kitchen sink, and he has to, right?
But who's going to get us? Like, who on their roster on paper is really going to come get us? Like, I don't.
No, only like I said, I really like Jaime Hawkins. I like his game a lot. I think that he's.
I think he had the best possible game he could have against us on Sunday.
I mean, offensively, you can say that, sure. I thought he played pretty good defense, but once again, when you're playing Tatum, like you're gonna get cooked eventually. So that's just what it was. But
that's gonna start to add up, don't you think? Like that's gonna start to add up game to game if they keep him doing that.
Yeah,
right?
They'll play better at home because most role players do. But I still think that it will be a similar result to what we saw Sunday. Like it may not be a 20-point thing, but I still think the Celtics win by 15 because once again, they can't go to another gear. Even sometimes with Jimmy. So let me be clear about that. I was like, oh, it's not Jimmy. Listen, there's even times when Jimmy has gone 5-18 from a game. We've seen it. So let's not make it seem like he's always 12-16 or 12-20.
I think the Heat year on year have gotten worse since we lost to them.
Absolutely.
The bubble.
The bubble. So, and yet still we're managing to lose to them in the playoff series. But yeah.
But also got to the finals by winning, and their helps too. So
but we knew they were going to get fucked up, though. We knew they were going to get fucked up in the finals, like we knew for sure, and it was like so frustrating, you know.
Yep.
Because they shouldn't have even been there. It should have been our first. What should have happened last season was it should have been our first trip to the finals against the Nuggets, and the Nuggets would have fucking beaten us. I want that on fucking record because we're talking about the year we lost to the fucking Heat anyway. The Nuggets would have fucking beaten us. And then this would have been the real chip on your shoulder year. Like it would have been like, all right, well, we're going to see them again. Like, it wasn't like when the Warriors like kind of punched us in the mouth for the last time, and we're never going to see them in the finals again. Like that iteration of the Warriors team is never going to be back in the finals. So there's
Right.
no chance of that happening.
Right.
So
Right.
they shouldn't have even really been there that year. We were the better team. We should have won the fucking games. But you're never going to be able to get revenge on them. Like, they just left you with that. That's the kind of team that they are. But like the Nuggets, if we start a rivalry with them, we could conceivably see them like 3 more times. You know what I mean? And we're going to look back on the year that the Heat beat us as like, we should have made it that year, man. You know, like that could have been a rubber. Like, then this could have happened. I mean, whatever. But all this is behind the sky hypothetical. If I'll say this, one, you mentioned your favorite Jayson Tatum game, and I was thinking about it since you said that. I think my favorite is game 1 against Brooklyn, where he locks KD down and then does the spinny move at the end to like finish
the game.
So that was probably my favorite Jayson.
That was fun, yeah.
Mike, do you have a favorite off the top of your head?
Honestly, not recency bias. I mean, I think it was this past game. Like, I've been asking for it for 4 years. Like, when is he going to have that Larry Bird playoff game where he only takes a select amount of shots, but he controls the entire fucking game? And we finally got it.
Yep. Yeah.
Against the Jimmy Butler.
That's what we need. No, but I mean, but that's one thing that's what we need. And I hope that he has more performances like that. Like I said, it was the most controlled he's ever looked. And once again, I know people it's sexier to get to 40 points. I get that, but like I said, if you can get close to a triple double, I was like, it's 28, 9 and 7, or you get another triple double this series. So be it. Like I said, he is by far the best player in the series when he's on. So just go out there and prove it. Just be you.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody else's consistency levels have really raised. And I think we've seen that over the regular season. I'm glad that it's producing the playoffs regardless of the opponents put in front of us. I think if I'm going to make a prediction for the next game, I think we're going to see another 30-plus point blowout at the start of the game, to be honest, because I just don't see who they have 1 through 8 that can possibly compete with who we have, like even 1 through 5. So I just think we're going to get the job done. It might be a little bit like more boring to talk about because I think we're just going to absolutely wax these guys. But what will be interesting is previewing our trip to Miami for game 3, because obviously that's going to change everything and be the first real test probably, unless we give ourselves a pop quiz in the next home game, because the only team that can beat us on Wednesday is us. So it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Well, for myself, DK Sizzle, for Rayshawn Buchanan, for Mike Marcangelo, I have presented to you a wonderful piece of content about the Boston Celtics, and I wish they would present us back a wonderful piece of basketball on Wednesday. This has been Missing the Point. Good night.